Whilst the jury's been deliberating on Lindsay Clancy, there's been a second trial happening entirely online. Not one backed by evidence, not one heard by a judge, just theories, and a lot of them. Quick reminder before we go any further, none of what I'm about to cover has been part of the actual court proceedings. What's been established in court is simple. Lindsay Clancy has admitted to the killings. The only real question the jury is deciding is her state of mind at the time. Everything from here is separate from that. This is what's been circulating online, not what's been argued in the Plymouth Superior Court. So theory 1. Patrick manipulated her. The first theory suggests Patrick didn't just fail to notice how unwell Lindsay was. He actually pushed her towards it, or pushed her towards confessing to something she didn't do. Online, this theory leans on the idea that Lindsay was in such a fragile psychological state that she could have been influenced or directed by someone she trusted completely. It's a theory that requires him to have either orchestrated the killings from a distance or shaped her confession afterwards, neither of which has ever been presented as evidence in court. Theory 2. Patrick as the actual killer. The second and more extreme version goes further still, that Patrick himself was somehow involved in the killings, not just absent from them. People online have drawn comparisons to high-profile cases such as Chris Watts, Scott Peterson, men who killed their families intentionally, played the grieving husband in public. The comparison sticks out in people's mind because those cases also began with a husband who seemed devastated, only for the truth to unravel later. But those comparisons rely on similarity, not evidence, and nothing places Patrick at the scene when the children died. Theory 3. The remarriage timeline. The third theory centers on what Patrick did after the deaths. He's since divorced Lindsay, remarried, moved to New York. Online, there are unconfirmed claims that he took a trip with his now wife within weeks of losing his children. And for a lot of people, that timeline reads suspicious, as though genuine grief wouldn't allow for that. It's become one of the most repeated pieces of evidence in the online discussions, even though it's never been verified. And even if true, grief doesn't always follow the timeline people expect. Theory 4. The small details. The fourth theory isn't really one single claim. It's a pattern people fixated on small, mundane details and reading significance into them. What shoes Patrick was wearing the night he came home to find the children dead. His body language whilst testifying. The fact that Lindsay had asked him to grab takeout and stop at CVS that evening, treated online as some kind of clue rather than an ordinary errand. None of these details have been treated as evidence in the actual trial, but online they've been taken on outsized meaning, almost as if enough small oddities stacked together are supposed to add up to guilt. Theory 5. Lindsay is entirely innocent. And the fifth theory goes the furthest of all, that Lindsay didn't do this at all, or that she was so entirely controlled by Patrick, by medication, by circumstance that responsibility shifts completely away from her. This one stands in direct contradiction to what actually is being established in court. Lindsay has not disputed that she caused her children's deaths. The debate in that courtroom isn't about who did it, it's about her state of mind when she did it. Now, why don't these hold up in court? Across all 5 theories, the through line is the same. None of them have made it anywhere near the actual trial. What has been presented as evidence tells a very different story. Patrick's whereabouts that night have been corroborated by phone records and surveillance footage, placing him away from the home when the children were killed. Why theories persist anyway? So why do they keep spreading if none of it lines up with what's actually been proven? Because for a lot of people, the actual reality on the table is harder to sit with than the alternative. A mother described by those who knew her as devoted, killing her own children doesn't fit the story people want to tell themselves. So, online, some fill out that gap with a different narrative altogether. One with a clearer villain. even if the facts don't support it. The story ends here, but the questions don't have to. Join me next time and we'll explore another one.